Oh, good morning, yogis. Beginning in a comfortable seat, connecting sits bones to earth, toning belly, lengthening through crown of head. Preparing to explore, to fire up, connect with our gluteal muscles. There's 3 sets. So medius and minimus on the outer hips, and then maximus, the one we're most familiar with, in the posterior chain. So we will work on all of them today to learn to fire them up, to engage them, because a lot of times if they're a little deconditioned, we may be a little disconnected from them. And then in certain poses, like our Utkatasana, which we'll explore, our lunges and our standing poses, warrior 1s and 2, the quadriceps will kind of take over and dominate. So we're going to maybe not go as deeply into the poses to avoid that, so that we can practice, strengthening and firing the gluteal muscles to get more connected with them again. And if an example is if you have pain when you're standing or going to seated, it could be that you have some weak gluteal muscles. If you do a lot of sitting for work or whatever, that could be the case. And, so that's really good to strengthen those. And they help us in so many movements, right? That whole, the gluteal muscles that connect the hip bone into the socket. So it helps us with external and internal rotation, extending the leg outward and backward. So that's a lot of the movements that we do in yoga. So it's really important to strengthen them. And we, not that we don't in yoga usually, but it's really good to have some time that we actually focus on them and don't allow those other supportive muscles, like I had mentioned, the quads, to kind of take over and dominate. So we want to really focus on the gluteals today. And this is really good in our life for standing around, moving around, balance, even supporting the low back and our posture. A lot of reasons. And then even on from an energetic perspective, this idea of apana vayu, that grounding vayu, that will help us to feel grounded and stable and calm, and also will help us to be a little bit more judicious about what we kind of hold on to or let go of. So if we have trouble letting go of things, this could be part of, we need maybe to work on this apana vayu, or Mulabandha, that idea of the energy of letting go, So all of that will be wrapped into today's practice. So let's just start with some simple movement. So connecting with your breath, and then coming forward with your torso, and then to the side and back and to the other side, and just making little circles here to awaken the spine, deepen the breath. And you can go into this as fully as feels comfortable for you. So again, all of these movements are relative to how we're feeling today. Since we did a similar practice on Thursday, you might feel the sesha, that imprint, the residue of the practice right here today, even 2 days later, and go the other direction. So be with that. Honor your body. Flowing with our breath, awakening the energy. Good. And bring this movement to stillness and pause and notice how that felt. So a lot of times in our practice, we'll do warm-ups like the pranapana that we do in Kripalu Yoga. We'll do sun salutations, which we'll do a few here in this practice. All of that to warm up our muscles. There's other ways too. You could, warm up your muscles by taking a shower, or you could even do some massaging. So let's do some of that right now to awaken those muscles a little bit more. You can do, some rubbing, some tapping, slapping, cupping, all the muscles on the outer hip, even into the gluteus max there. Get some heat going. Here we are. So hopefully that helps. That, you know, kind of awakens some blood flow and some energy, some heat. And now let's uncross our legs if they're crossed and plant your feet on the earth. You can move your blanket out of the way or not. And then we'll windshield wipe our legs. So we're going to move our hips in the internal and external rotation. Again, awakening the gluteal muscles is one of their main functions. Right? And the head of the femur is moving in the ball and socket joint. Maybe you're even starting to feel a little like side stretch and extension here. So let's even work on that. So if you want, you can exaggerate that by letting the legs drop to one side and bring the hand over to the top of, say, the right thigh and twisting and looking back. And then you can come to the other side. So we're kind of deepening the movement, letting it kind of move up the body so that we can really use this as a solid warm-up. This windshield wiping. Yeah. And then you could even start to take it into an extension. So you can come onto the hips, press your hips forward, or sorry, come onto your knees, press your hips forward, lift your heart and arm, and then come down. Nice, and then flow like that a few more times. If it doesn't feel comfortable to be on your knees, then don't. We'll have a little bit of stuff on the knees today. Not a lot, but a little. One more time each side. And then come back to center and pause and notice. All right. So from here, let's come to standing, however you want to get to standing. And you can move your little blanket out of the way, and then have your strap handy. So we'll find our Tadasana. So then get your strap and make a little loop. So those who took class on Tuesday, you probably will be ready. We want it to be about the width of the middle of our hips. So let's just put that on right now. Bring that strap to the middle of your thighs. I said hips, I meant thighs, sorry. All right, so, and then once you get it on there, feel that you're trying to like break that strap apart. Your feet are grounded like always in Tadasana, big toe mounts, pinky toe mounts, heels. And then you've got this, you know, like activation of the outer gluteals, you know, the medius minimus. All right, we can even wrap this strap around so that we don't trip over it because we're going to do a little movement with it. So I just kind of wrapped it around. Right? And then also take note that your hips, knees, and ankles are aligned. It could be maybe your feet or knees could be splaying out past the strap, you know, so if that's the case, make the loop a little tighter, and again, make sure that your knees are right over your ankles, you know, pointing in the, you know, forward. So direction of the second toes. All right, so here we are. And then see if you can get that you're going to give a little internal rotation to your thighs. You're pressing the outer thighs away. You'll find that neutral pelvis. Grounding through your feet, lengthening through crown of head, and find your Tadasana here with your legs in this strap. All right, so from here, we'll go into our first Utkatasana, the awkward chair pose. Now, we usually take that pose pretty deeply. I have us usually sweep our fingers down towards the earth, you kind of come into this squat, and then you go up, right? And our goal is we try to even get our thighs really parallel to the earth so that we're really, the quads are really working, and we're in this deep flexion of our ankles, so it's a good ankle strengthener and a stretch for the Achilles and all of that. But we want to take a more shallow Utkatasana now, so that the quadricep, the glutes will dominate and not the quads. So take that now for a moment. You can keep your hands on your hips, squat down, shift your weight towards your heels. Keep trying to press that strap outward. but with a slight internal rotation of your thighs. And now feel that hopefully the glutes are starting to fire. Even if you have to give them a tap to wake them up to make sure that they're working, not the fronts of the legs. You want the glutes to work here. Good. And you can even keep your hands on your hips, it doesn't matter. And then maybe even come out. And then maybe sit back. So maybe do that a few times to find that sweet spot where your gluteal muscles are the ones supporting this posture. You've got that sense of Apanavayu, that grounding. The torso is lifting upward as long. You've got a neutral lumbar curve, so your back's happy. And then if you want, you could add your arms. And they could be at any, on your hips, forward, or at that 45-degree angle like we typically do for our Utkatasana, fierce pose. So feeling the ferocity of the pose today. Feels a little heat. And then you can press the earth away, extend your legs, and lower your arms. Now we'll do it again, and we'll focus on one leg at a time. So nice strengthener for the legs. All right, so bend the knees, shifting weight back toward heels. Don't go as low as normal, just firing up the gluteals. Even if you can engage them a little bit more. Adding arms if you want. Shift your weight to your left foot, pick up the right leg. Here's our single leg Utkatasana. Good. Notice it comes a little bit to my quad around my knee. So, see what you can do to maybe come out of it a little bit, engage the posterior muscle chain a little bit more. And then lower your leg. You can stay in Utkatasana. You can come out a little bit. So find that place where you can engage those muscles a little bit more. And then shift weight to right foot, pick up left. See where that is for you. And then bring that leg towards straighter, lower the left leg, and come back to Tadasana. Keep your strap here. It's just my tail is falling apart here. Okay, so now let's think about that extension that the legs do, and we will do this in our standing poses. So we have our Tadasana feet, really nice grounded. We have that activation of our outer thighs so that we're kind of breaking free of the strap as we sort of simultaneously internally rotate. Good. And then let's try to take one leg where we're going to kind of externally rotate it a little bit so the toes kind of turn out, and then send it back behind you. Now feel the gluteals firing up here. And breathe. So this is how we do our warrior 3. Which we'll do in our practice. So feel that. Nice, nice. Oh, good. And then you can release. Okay, find the Tadasana for a moment. Then start to externally, put the weight to the right leg, externally rotate the left leg a little bit. And then even if you bend the knee, it's fine to bend the knee. Send that leg backward. Good. Feel the gluteus max firing. Just notice, even feel what gets a little tight. And then let's lower that leg down. Good. Now from here, how about we try a sun salutation with our legs in our strap, and then we'll let it go. Let's do a couple of half sun salutations first, and then we'll be walking back into our plank, into our dog pose. And for extra fun and bonus, we could even try our chaturanga prep that we did on Tuesday, so that we can focus on our chaturanga alignment a little bit. So you'll see. So maybe have your blocks handy if you want to use them underneath your hands. 3 half sun salutations to start. So in our Tadasana, feet grounded, pressing against the strap, internal rotation of the thigh, neutral pelvis, shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, get long, find elongation, maybe look upward and take an extension if you like. Exhale, hands through prayer or swan dive, forward fold. Hands on your legs, the blocks at whatever setting, or the earth. Inhale, rise up halfway, get long. Exhale, back into your fold. Squat down into our Utkatasana, that's a little bit more gluteal focused. Arms out like a T or through prayer, rise all the way up, strong legs, squeeze those glutes, rise up, Tadasana, or Urdhva Hastasana, and then bring your hands down to prayer Tadasana. 2 more. Inhale, get long, maybe extend. Exhale and forward bend. Inhale, rise up. Exhale and fold. Squatting down, strong legs rising us up, especially our gluteals. Hands to prayer. Prayer to our heart. 1 more. Big inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Gentle little squat. Engage the glutes so that the legs can press us up to standing. Hands to prayer and prayer to our heart. Good job. Now this next time, it's going to take us down to our plank and dog pose. So, and we'll hopefully we'll stay in our plank a little bit. So our arms out to the sides, up to the sky. Elongate, maybe extend. Exhale and forward bend. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale and fold again. Now let's walk back into plank pose. You can just move your blocks a little bit out of your way. Walk back, and you're gonna have to do little baby steps to walk yourself back. So we still got that strap on, right? And then your hands are under your shoulders. You're activating through the heels. Get a sense that you're still trying to break that strap. You have a neutral pelvis, and maybe you're even broader across your collarbones, around your shoulders, the back body, this upper back right here. We want to have some space back there. So feel that maybe you're even bringing your hands apart, like your legs are kind of come apart, your arms are trying to come apart. Your belly's engaged. Good. Take another breath or 2. Good. And then let's everybody lower our knees down. If you need to, you can put a little cushion under your knees. You know, so say I'll put my cushion under my knees. And then I'm here in my modified plank. Actually, we're going to do something else. We're going to come onto our forearm. So come onto that left forearm and then pivot onto that left leg. Okay, so, you know, adjust your strap if it started to fall. And then you can drop your hip down. So you can be here in this kind of lounge asana. We're lounging, we're gonna get a nice stretch on the left side. We're gonna engage our core and make sure that the knees are in line with our hips. So you may have to draw those hips back. I just noticed I had to. Then we will press into the bottom leg, lift the hips up and focus on your core. And then lower down. And then lift up. Now, if you have any shoulder injuries, maybe you're not gonna do this, right? Don't worry, it's okay. You can just skip this little teeny bit. And then we'll rise up. Good. Nice work. Now stay here and see if you can lift that upper leg away. Maybe even send that arm up to the sky. And hold here. Try not to don't collapse into that left shoulder. So really press that elbow down. Keep a long neck. 1 more breath. And then lower back down. Come onto your forearms. Good. You can even come through a Bhujangasana. So we're here in our cobra pose. Grounding hips, lengthening feet, crown of head to feet, right across your collarbones. Now we'll try it on the other side. So I'm going to be turning my back to you. So I'm pivoting onto my right elbow, my right hip, drawing knees in line with my hips. My right hip is down, and then I'll have my left hand in front of me for support, and I'll press down onto the mat to lift my hips up. And then lower down, and lift, and lower down, and lift, and one more time, lower down, lift and hold, even lift the top leg a little bit away. Good, breathing here, feeling the back muscle chain firing up. Good, I'm breathing, maybe even extending the left arm to sky, pressing out of that right elbow. 1 more breath, and then slowly lowering down, pivoting back through Bhujangasana. And then we can lower all the way down, draw your hands back in line with your chest, press up through hands and knees, and find your dog pose. So the hands are a little forward of the shoulders, curl your toes under, and lift the legs. And still trying to break that strap apart. A little internal rotation to the thighs. More focus on the glutes here than any other part of the body. So see if we can get a little more focus on our gluteal muscles in this posture. How does it change? You know, it's like in our yoga practice, we can take the same pose and add different areas of focus. So let's see if we can add that focus to the glutes. Keep lifting hips to sky. Engaging the back muscle chain, your hips. Engaging the belly, melting your heart to the earth. One more breath. Now, if you have your little towel, you have your blanket there for your knees, it might be a little tricky. We're going to walk forward back to our Tadasana. So walk, walk, walk forward, little baby steps. Back into your forward fold. Rise up halfway. Exhale and fold. And then bend your knees with strong glutes, strong legs. Rise all the way up to standing, hands to prayer. And prayer to our heart. Nice. And then you can turn back towards the long side of your mat and release your strap. All right, nice, okay. So now now we have built up some muscle memory, hopefully, for what's to come. We'll stand back at the short side of our mat. You could have you know, a chair or a wall handy if you want it for your balance, which will be a warrior 3 posture. Okay, so starting in Utkatasana, we will squat back, shift our weight toward our heels, squat down just enough where you feel the gluteal muscles start to fire up. You've got that memory of this internal rotation of the thighs, you know, the hips, and this activation, like your legs are still trying to draw outward. So feel all that. Belly's toned, arms could be on hips or at shoulder height or a little higher. Take a breath or two here. And then let's shift our weight to our left foot and pick up the right leg. Nice, and breathe, noticing how this feels. And then you can bring your hands to prayer or onto your hips, or then you can even come by your sides as we start to hinge forward and send that leg back behind us like a warrior 3. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter how high you lift the leg because we're going to do something else here. We're going to bend the standing leg, the left leg, and then lift it up. Good. So you can bend, you can even tap that foot down and then lift it, or it could be a little lift. You could just have just a little tiny lift. So we're really working that left leg, the standing leg. Doesn't have to be too fast, just lowering and then lifting. And then find your balance pose. Find your warrior 3, that internal rotation of the thigh, the hamstring and the gluteus max lift towards sky. Lengthen from crown to heel. One more breath as you bend the left knee, lower the foot, and send your arms to the sky. Virabhadrasana 1. And you can widen the stance if you like. Engage your right hamstring, square your hips, tone your belly. Good. Inhale here. One more breath or two. And then exhale. Let's bring our hands onto our thighs if you want. This is always a good place. We'll warm up here. Inhale, maybe go a little deeper into the high lunge now. It's really a high lunge. And then straighten the left leg. You can press your hands against the leg to lengthen your torso and ground the right heel. And then bend. And then extend. And do that a few times. So it's kind of like pyramid. If you want your hands to be a little lower, you can bring them onto blocks or the earth. You can even extend the back leg. But it's up to you. We don't have to go that far. So just warming up the leg muscles. Good. And then the last time that you go into your pyramid pose, hold it here. You know, pressing your hands against the front thigh so you can get your torso long. Melt your heart towards your leg as you draw the left hip back and the right hip forward. Right leg grounds. So intense side stretch, this is also called. Both legs are getting a nice stretch. We're melting our heart to our leg. We're taking one more breath here. And then you can soften that knee, rise up through the warrior 1 pose, or your hands on your thighs, doesn't matter. And then straighten the front leg, round the back foot, open up towards the front of the mat, the long side of the mat. Heels in, toes out. Turn palms forward too. Fingers bright, maybe hands a little higher than shoulders, 5-pointed star. Inhale here, exhale, bend elbows and knees and go into your Devyasana pose. Right? And then come back out, 5-pointed star. So let's do that a few times with our breath. Now, of course, our focus is gluteal muscles. So you may be not going as deep. We don't want to activate our quadriceps, the front of the thighs. Right? So just notice how this is feeling. Shifting weight to heels. See if you can engage those muscles a little bit more, get them to fire. Good. And here we go, 2 more. Good. And last time. And fold and hold here. Again, really getting the posterior muscle chain to fire up. Gluteus max, medius, minimus. And then you can stay here with your arms. If they're getting a little tired or the shoulders are cranky, you can let the hands come onto the hips because we're going to hold this for a little bit more. Breathing here. Nice. If you want, you could have a little pulsation, but maybe you can just hold and breathe and squeeze. Yeah, good. Nice. Stay with it. A few more breaths. Good job, everybody. Nice. One more breath cycle. And then inhale, rise back out to the 5-pointed star. Bring your hands onto your hips and pivot your feet toward neutral. So this is, they're going forward. Toes are going forward now. We're going to do the same thing, but with this different orientation of our legs. And notice how this feels different in your glutes. So you're bending your knees and you're squatting backward and then rising back up. So this is kind of like we might do a regular squat and kind of conventional exercise, like you're doing a deadlift or something. In fact, if this is helpful for you, if you find this super strengthening, then maybe you want to add a little weight. You could have even some hand weights that you just hold and you just keep supported by your thighs. And, of course you could add arms too and elevate the heart rate even, but this would be a nice thing to add some weights. Good. So feel that we're working the back body, not the quads here. So we're not going as deep into a squat. We're certainly not going down here, right? So to get into the deep knee flexion or quadricep strengthening, we're trying to really fire up the glutes. Maybe even some hamstring working too. So notice. One more time and hold here, hold here. You can even keep your hands on your thighs. You could add a little pulsation. Lift and lower. Lift and lower, little pulsation. Pulse, 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 and then hold once again. Now stay here for a few breaths, noticing how this feels. Good job. Nice. Take 4 full breath cycles. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale with your strong legs. Rise up. And then step your feet together. And you can give some taps again, that little cupping or slapping, if that was a lot. So, good job. So let's do the other side. So I'll come to this side of the mat. You can get your blocks if you want. And we'll start with our Utkatasana, feet about hips distance apart. Squatting down, not as deeply as usual, just enough to engage the glutes. You could keep your arms on your hips at heart height or higher and breathe here for a couple of breath cycles. Good. You're squeezing, becoming aware, trying to learn to fire those muscles up. I mean, no matter how active we are, we could maybe develop a little bit more gluteal awareness and strength. So let's see about that. Take one more breath. And then shift your weight to your right leg. You could bring your hands to the prayer or onto your hips. Lift the left leg. Again, adjusting the height or the degree of the bend to the right leg so that you don't transfer the effort to the quad. So find what that is. There it is. Define that place. And then let's send that leg back. So again, you're internally rotating the thigh as you kick that leg back. You get that nice extension, working the gluteus maximus here. And then you can bend the standing leg and then straighten it. So that lifted leg will lower, maybe tap the earth and lift. You can make this a little bit bigger if you want and going towards the warrior 3. It doesn't matter, just do it from that strengthening, with that strengthening goal in mind. Not what it looks like. And one more time. And then hold into the full expression of the pose today, whatever that is for you. Good, and take another breath or two, and then bend the standing leg, lower the lifted leg, release your arms, Virabhadrasana 1. Good. Okay, extend the back leg so that the left hamstring is engaged, hips are square, belly's taut. Relax shoulders, even if you have to widen the arms or lower your hands to your hips. Again, honoring every part of the body. Take one more breath here. Good. And then we're going to go into that, sort of pyramid flow. So you can keep your arms extended. You can interlace them on your thigh, which I always really like. As we lift our heart, take a little extension. And then exhale as you bring your right leg towards straighter. Ground the left heel, square hips, lengthen torso, melting heart to thigh. And then go back and forth like that with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Hand position can be wherever feels comfortable for you, on the thigh, the blocks, or the earth. And 2 more. Last time. And hold here. Square your hips, that is, draw right hip back, left hip forward. Ground your left leg, even if you have to step that leg out. Lengthen your torso and melt your heart over the leg. Take one more breath here. And then bend your right knee. Rise up to warrior 1. Good. You can lower your hands onto your hips as you bring your right leg towards straighter and pivot your torso towards the long side of your mat. 5-pointed star again, heels in, toes out. Inhale and exhale and squat. And make adjustments along the way. Awakening, firing the gluteals, all of them. Outer, the medius, minimus, maximus. See if you can feel all of it. The sides, the root back. Good, nice work. Just moving with awareness. Okay, and the next time, hold here. Hold it. Engaging those muscles. And breathing. Good job. Nice. Taking one more breath. And then rising back up. Bring your hands onto your hips. Turning your toes toward neutral or your feet toward neutral. Taking this squat, one more of a traditional squat, sitting back towards your heels, only going as far as you can, that you feel the gluteals firing up. And then come up to standing. And a few squats like this. And really engage the muscles as you rise up. This is always something I try to remind myself when I'm getting out of a chair, to really press the earth away, engage my posterior chain. So this is even the simplest thing as getting out of a chair could be an opportunity for strengthening, for just kind of remaining in condition. And the next time we're going to hold here. If you want to add the pulsation, you can. You can just stay here if you like. Good, and breathe, 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 breathe. Good. And then with our strong legs, we can rise back up to standing, squeezing the glutes together. Step the right foot or the left foot into the other, and notice how you're feeling now. Adding some padding, cupping, if that's helpful. Good job. Okay, so little rounded balance, and then we'll come on to our mat. So let's start with, we'll just start with sort of like an Apanasana. We'll ground our left leg into the earth, pick up that right leg, and just pull it in. Good. Pull it in here. Look, even bring it high up towards your shoulder. Good. Foot dorsiflexed, belly toned, long torso. Good. And actually, this is really nice now because it's really a stretch for the glutes. And actually, we'll do that when we come on to the earth. We'll get a nice stretch because we have to strengthen our muscles, but we also have to stretch them out too. So this happens to be just a little moment of a stretch. Hard to feel the stretch because we're like negotiating standing on one foot, but It is. And then from here, see if you can keep the leg lifted and go right into your tree, externally rotating the hip and finding your tree pose. No matter where the foot, if it's on the earth, on your calf, or maybe you could even bring it to inner thigh with help or without help. And then feel here, activate, your glutes. Medius minimus, so to draw yourself in. And then from that stable foundation that you've created, we can find the length of our tree. Hands to prayer. And breathe here. Nice. Vrikshasana. Maybe we have a better constructed Vrikshasana right now. I don't know, just notice, has the awareness of the glutes helped a little? I feel that the more I draw in, and I focus on drawing in from my outer hips, I feel like I can get more length. Just feel that, I don't know. Notice that in yourself. Take one more breath. Now we're gonna do one more thing. So let's bend that standing leg, keep the lifted leg lifted, and then bring it to an external rotation this way in a figure 4. So you're in your Utkatasana here. You can keep your hands on prayer, or you can bring the hand on the knee and the foot, and you go into your Utkatasana, standing leg, figure 4, top leg. Another little stretch, but are we too focused on the balance? Notice if you can get a little bit of both. Nice work. Take one more breath, and then you can release the foot right through Utkatasana and then come to standing. Okay, here we go. Shake it out if you need to. Always know that you can cup, slap, give massage the muscles. It's just another way to release. And then we'll put the weight to the right leg and we'll pick up the left leg. Give it a squeeze again. Maybe you can notice the gluteals getting a nice stretch here. And then when you're ready, you can release that leg and go into your Vrikshasana. Yeah, wherever that ended up. Engaging medius minimus to help support this posture. Engaging gluteus maximus. See if you can really find that awareness, that stability in the pelvic region, the sense of apanavayu, the grounding, and then this lifting of that sense of pranavayu. Take another breath or two here. And then prepare to come out of it as you soften your standing leg. Take this lifted leg and see if you can externally rotate it a little bit more. Bring the ankle right over the knee and go into Utkatasana with figure 4. Oh, yeah. And then your hands could rest on the knee and the ankle if that feels nice. Your hands can stay in prayer beyond hips. You could hold onto a wall or a chair. Take another breath or two. And then with your strong legs, rise out of it and shake it out. Shake it out. We'll come onto the mat now. And whenever you're ready, make your way down onto the mat, and we'll get a few stretches. So when we're on our mat, though, this is where I talked about the sliding action. So first, we'll do a little stretch for the glutes, and then we'll do some core work, and then we'll finish up with another, bridging, which will also help just be a glute strengthener. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up for it right away. I'm going to fold my thick mat back so I could glide. This is where I'm going to be slippery on the floor, because I have a wood floor here. If you don't and you have carpet, as I said, I have this yoga mat towel, which is very glidey for my feet. you know, so something like that, slippery, even if it's a sheet or, as I said, paper plates or furniture movers, you know, you could find these things for the future. Even if you had something that you could make do with, like I said, paper plates, because we want to be able to glide our feet. Yeah. And then we also want to have that strap handy because we'll put it on our legs again in a moment. So let's come onto our back, having all of that stuff sort of in place, and then maybe draw one leg in then the other, and let's take a supine child's pose here. So pulling the legs in and feeling that nice stretch in the gluteal muscles, even in your hamstrings. The good stretch after all that work. Maybe even letting the legs go apart a little bit, the knees draw apart, so you have the effect of the wide-legged child's pose. And then maybe you can go a little deeper and get a nice stretch here. Make sure the back of the head is grounded, your neck is neutral, and notice how that feels. Take another stretch or two, another breath or two. Good. And then we're going to go into do dead bug for our core work. So you can plant your feet on the earth. Just a couple of rounds of this, just so we can activate the front body. Always important. Then, you know, make sure your ankles, knees, and hips are aligned, hips distance apart. Plant your hands on your thighs, kind of like your upper thighs, and press your hands into your thighs as you tilt your pelvis up and your low belly and low ribs down. Good. And just hold that isometric contraction and then release. And that's what we want for this posture. We want this low back pressing down, so our low back is really supportive, and we're engaging really a lot of our abdominal wall, the upper and lower abdominals. Right, so feel that. You can even peel your head up if that feels better. Two more. All right, last time. So now again, cultivating that muscle memory, that's the action we want. You could stay in that stage, but the invitation is to bring the legs up to the reverse table. So, and be careful to keep the knees over the hips. Maybe even the feet dorsiflex, because when the knees come forward, you're kind of coming out of this a little bit. See, I can't really work my low belly as much. So keep the legs, you know, here, even a little bit drawing away, rather than the knees in front of the hips. Okay, so with that in mind, hands go back on the thighs, and the same thing, you are pressing your hands into your legs and legs into hands isometrically to press the low belly down. Good. And then release. And do that a few times, so just like an isometric contraction as the crunch. You know, take note of the knees. They want to sometimes track forward. You're going to have to watch them too. And two more. And again, you don't have to lift your neck if you don't want to. And good. And pause. Now we're going to do that again, but we'll do it with our arms up to the sky. Or actually, we're not pressing on our legs anymore. We're going to do that same, you know, pressing the low belly down, arms to sky. Send your right leg forward as you draw your low belly down to the earth, and find a place where that leg can hover over the earth without arching your back. And then bring it in and release back to neutral spine. Extend left leg, press low back, low belly down. Good. And bring in. And switch like that a few times. And bring in. And extend. Good, nice. And now the next time, you can keep going like this, and I'm just going to add the option of arms right now. So as I extend my leg, I'm pressing my low belly down. And if you want, this next time, as your right leg goes forward, the left arm could go back. So it's opposite arm, opposite leg. Keep the low belly drawing down, so this is a core work, and then come back to center. The trickiest part is to keep the arms and legs in line, right? The one that isn't moving, to keep them staying upright. They want to kind of join in on the movement. So keep going at your own pace, pressing low belly down, engaging your upper, your rectus, your transverse abdominals, the low belly. One more each side. Last time. And then slowly lower your legs and just pause. Don't do anything. There's always that desire that I have to do something, to make it, the sensation stop. Just be with it and let it just dissolve on its own. Everything passes even without any of your effort. Just let it go. Nice. All right. Now back to the strap, to bridging, to glute strengthening. So here's our strap. We've got our loop. That's hips or middle thigh width. So it's appropriate width for us now. Put your legs in there. Draw it up. Wrap the little tail around if you want, so it's nice and tidy and not in the way. Good. And then we can plant our feet on the earth. Now don't go on your slippy thing yet, if you've got some slippy stuff. Let's focus on just lifting and just coming into bridge. It'll be a nice stretch for the abdominal wall anyway. So you can make sure your ankles, knees, and hips are hips distance apart. Ground the feet, tilt the tailbone towards the knees, arms press down as you lift the rest of the back, the low back, the mid back, upper back. Back of the head's grounding. You're still getting the sense that you're trying to break that strap apart, yet internally rotate the thighs so that we feel medius, minimus, and maximus all firing here, and then lower down. So do that a few times, focusing on that stable base, the activation of our glutes, but then also we're getting this nice stretch of our belly and the skin of our belly after the core work. A couple more times like that. Good. Now stay here in this full expression. Nice. And if you want, you can put the weight to your left leg and extend your right leg. And try to keep the thighs parallel. As you extend the leg, you might notice that one hip might drop down. Lift it up. See if you can keep the hips level. Extend through your heel or the ball of the foot. Strong standing leg. Arms and back of head grounding for extra help. And breathe here. Lower that leg down. See if you can stay in your bridge, or if you need to come out, that's okay. Go down, reset, engaging all the gluteal muscles, internally rotating the thighs, nice, stable, neutral pelvis, and then extend your left leg. Noticing the difference side to side. I already found my right leg so much stronger just by doing that. I was like, ooh, yeah. I didn't have to worry about aligning the hip. So interesting to note. Watch the back of the neck. Breathing, breathing. And then lower that foot down, lower out of your bridge pose, and notice. And then you can get your little slippy thing, whatever your slippy thing is. And we will try to, first we'll do it without lifting up into bridge, and then we'll lift up. So you can lift your toes, so you're kind of digging your heels in, and then send your legs forward and bring them back in. So they're gliding, and you're feeling that you're really even warming up. This could have actually have been our warm up. To start awakening the posterior muscles. Oops, and you have to keep digging the heels in to not lose your whatever you're sliding on. And you might even feel your hamstrings firing up too. This is really good for hamstrings as well. Let's see if we can focus. I really like doing things slow and intentionally so we can focus on those specific, the targeted muscles. Notice their strength or weakness. See if we can develop that. See if we can just really focus on that one area, which is challenging, right? Good. All right, and this next time, pull it in. Good, and stay there. And notice. Now, if that's enough, that's great. If you'd like to try to do that from our bridge, we're going to lift up into the bridge, arms by our side. You can even hold on to the outside of your mat for dear life, and then dig the heels in, send the legs away, and then pull it back in. Good. And then send them away, and with your strong gluteus maximus, pull it back in. Good. A couple more times like that. Out and pull in. Good. Out and dig and pull in. How about one more for good measure? Out and pull in. Good. Nice. Find that final bridge pose. And then slowly lower it down. Release your little loop. You can give your knees a squeeze. Maybe rock side to side across the sacrum. Maybe lowering the knees a little bit so you're more on the, on your glutes, your outer gluteal muscles, massaging. Maybe circles, wide circles. Good, and then maybe you can, give both legs a squeeze for a moment, and then we'll do a single leg squeeze up in asana. So then hold the right leg in, extend your left leg long. Dorsiflex all 10 toes up to the sky and pull the right leg in. Again, getting that nice stretch for the gluteal maximus. Grounding the opposite leg down and breathe here. Now from here, we'll take a gentle rotation. So you can let the left hand guide the right knee to the left and the right arm and gaze can go to the right. Keep your right shoulder down because here we're going to try to get the medius and minimus a little bit stretched out after that work. Again, maybe into the hamstring, maybe the maximus is getting stretched here too. So feel that nice gluteal stretch after all of that work. So we're really going for that stretch rather than a rotation. Take another breath or two. And then bring your leg back to center, giving it a squeeze. And then release down. You can even let that leg drop out to the side for a moment, noticing the difference on that leg. And then bring that leg back to center, like Tadasana leg, right toes to sky. That leg grounds down as the left leg pulls in. Pull that knee all the way in. A nice stretch here. I forgot to say on the other side, you could even add rotation to the ankle. Anytime when you do these, or our legs to sky, or pulling the leg in like up in asana, it's nice to maybe give the ankle some rotation. And pulling that left leg in, right leg grounds, and then from this foundation, take the right hand and guide your left knee to the right, left arm and gaze go to the left and get the nice gluteal stretch there. Take one more breath. And then pull, unwind out of that rotation, your gaze, your knee, give the leg another pull, give a squeeze. And then as you extend it and lower the leg down, let your left toes and hip drop out to the side. And notice how that side feels now. Maybe let both legs drop out, even if you can bring your right hand to your right half of your pelvis and your left hand to the left half, and really ground down each half of your pelvis. Letting the legs draw away, feet drop out. And then release your arms by your sides, palms spinning up. Take a big inhale here and exhale it out. We did it. Take a big inhale and exhale it out with a sigh as you surrender the weight of your head, your shoulders, your hips, your legs. Take another big inhale and an exhale as you relax your face, your chest, your fingers and toes, your belly, your breath. And then we'll take one more big willful inhale. And then on an exhale, we'll even surrender control of the breath so that we can rest here for these next few moments to integrate the practice, restore our vital energy, and absorb the shanti, the peace of yoga. Surrender to your feelings. Sometimes we think being strong means not giving into our emotions, but that's not strength, that's denial and resistance. Real power comes from being vulnerable enough to feel what we feel. Keep going, we tell ourselves. Don't give in, this will pass. But the only way to pass through these times is by feeling what we feel. The longer we fight and resist our emotions, the longer the situation will continue that is triggering them. We may not see the lesson until we feel the feeling. We may not see the issue, the next step, the way out, or the way through until we give in, feel our emotions, then release them. It's not enough to talk about them, although that will help bring them into consciousness, into the light of day. But talking about our feelings is different from surrendering to and feeling the emotional energy. Feel the feeling, then release it. Now your soul and the universe can move you forward into new circumstances, into growth. An issue to work on, such as freedom, forgiveness, acceptance, love, or valuing some part of ourselves or our lives, may naturally and automatically emerge. If we pay attention to the process by which we grow, we will clearly see that each step of the way, feeling our feeling, accepting it, then releasing it, triggered the next step of growth. Soon we will see that we are learning a new lesson. We are on our way again. There is magic in allowing our feelings to pass through us, magic in giving in. There is power, more than we think, in being vulnerable enough to feel what we feel. So allow your breath to deepen. Gently rock your head from side to side. Bring movement to fingers and toes. Sweep your arms overhead, reaching up through fingers and down through toes. Tucking your chin in towards your chest. Taking a big stretch. And exhale and release. And you can sweep your arms around and give your legs another squeeze if you like. And then with either bent or straight legs, roll over onto right side. Resting there for a moment. And when you're ready, using the right elbow and left hand to rise up slow, coming back to the comfortable seat we began in. Grounding through sits bones, toning belly, lengthening through crown of head. And notice how you're feeling now. Drawing hands together at heart center in gratitude. We'll lift our gaze and seal our practice by joining our voices in one Om. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.